Welcome to the Team of One podcast, where we share the story of the solopreneur by exploring different ideas from different voices so you too can find a way to live life on your own terms. My name is Mo Choice, and I hope you enjoy this next episode. Peace. Welcome back to the Team of One podcast. Today we are joined by Sid Saraiya. Sid, who are you?
Hello, I'm Sid Saraiya. I am a freelance strategist, and I specialize in helping founders design businesses.
What is strategy? What does that mean?
Strategy, it's kind of a nebulous concept. I've really struggled to get my head around it for the last 5 years. I really like Roger Martin's approach to it, but if working with me on it, it's the decisions that are going to gain you that has the highest likelihood of perceived return.
I love that. That's my definition of it. That's exactly right. and I also think of it as, where am I going to put my time and effort?
Exactly.
How do I choose where to put my time and effort that's going to get me the biggest return on that investment? Yeah, I love it. I think that's it. It's unbelievable to me how many people just waffle on about nonsense when I ask them that question, and I'm like, I still don't know what strategy is.
Yeah,
I love it. Do you identify as a solopreneur?
Yes.
How would you define, if someone came up to you and said, I don't know what that means, what is a solopreneur? How would you respond to that?
That is a great question. How is it? I think if I need to make that question more specific for myself, I think, like, how is a solopreneur different to a freelancer? That's something I had to tackle, right? I think a freelancer will go in as a hired gun into another company and to some extent do what they're told. So I've been a freelance designer. I've been a freelance coder.
Yeah.
Sit here. Here's what we want you to make, and here's how we want you to make it.
Yeah, right.
So with a solopreneur, my approach is a little bit different in that I'm bringing in the expertise.
Yes.
And I'm going to get paid for my thinking.
Got it. I love it. My take on that is Freelancer is about process, action, tasks. Solopreneur is about outcome.
Yeah.
And so as long as I get you the outcome, why do you care about how I get you the outcome?
Exactly. Yeah.
Leave me to it, and I'll get you the outcome. Yeah. I love that. Okay, great. We're on the same wavelength, I think, with strategy and solopreneurs. It makes a change, by the way, Sid. I'll be honest with you. So when did you decide or realize, because sometimes we don't decide, we just go, oh my God, I'm solopreneuring it. Or when did you decide, maybe we take the freelancer idea in mind. When did you decide, I'm no longer a freelancer, I'm now a solopreneur?
Okay. I'm no longer a freelancer. I'm now a solopreneur. There was a transition phase inside the swarm. So let's try and order that swarm. I was freelancing as a videographer, having come from freelancing as hey, I can do videography, I can do photography, I can do some graphic design if you need it. Hey, I can rattling off all this stuff post-corporate because I'm desperate for work.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to find the right business coach at the right time. He's like, look, you need to narrow down what you do because it's impossible for anyone to understand. And you see it in their eyes when you're rattling it off. By the time you're done, they have no idea what you said or what they can buy from you. It's all thrown out.
Yeah.
So we focused on me becoming a freelance videographer. And as time went on through his coaching and mentoring, we did this exercise, which was just kind of in amongst it. I just wanted to be doing stuff, right? My belief was doing stuff is going to be the thing that gains the most amount of traction and gets me the growth, the output. We sat down and did some numbers, and we figured out there weren't enough hours in the year for me to hit my revenue goals working for the clients, charging what I was charging.
Simple maths.
right? It's just such simple maths. Because we get into this, like, I want to work for myself, I want to do good work, I want to bring value to people without really understanding what that means. You want, like, especially like stepping away from corporate, we're always looking for meaning, or I don't like this word,
Purpose.
with work. I don't like, purpose. I don't, my work doesn't need a purpose. My family needs a roof over their head, right? My purpose in life right now, in this phase of my existence, is going from one end of my living room to the other end of my living room, picking up every toy that my kids have left out and putting it back in the basket. That's my purpose in life right now. I just happen to be a solopreneur that also has a business that I really enjoy working in.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
So, that transition was kind of, okay, we need a new business model to go from freelance to actually building a business. And so the funny thing is, you asked to being a solopreneur. I ended up being a micro agency, a boutique niched video marketing agency, specializing in producing marketing videos for tech companies in London. Nice, concise, tight. And the job I did as a solopreneur wasn't anymore to pick up the camera, to open up Photoshop, open up Lightroom or Premiere or anything like that. It was actually to sell the promise that I could produce the video that you were asking for, and then connect it back to the team of creatives, enable and nurture them to produce the video that the client was asking for.
Got it.
So we ended up being a boutique micro agency.
How many people?
And once I'd figured it out, I think we pretty much had zero overheads apart from the laptop and the internet connection.
No staff?
Sorry?
No staff?
No full-time staff, so freelancers. And
so you're paying for the job, so it's a cost of sale in accounting speak rather than an overhead.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm running around doing the work. Honestly, not being from an entrepreneurial background, not having entrepreneurs in the house, I had this reflection at a point where I was like, is this criminal? Like, the freelancers are charging me £1,500 for the work. I'm charging the client $5,000. I'm pocketing the difference. Is there something illegal about this? And it's like no, that's just commerce, mate. You know, these internal conversations that we have with ourselves when we work alone, just how it works. And that was kind of where I found my strengths. And it was kind of also leaving corporate. It was a bit of putting your money where your mouth is, in terms of, well, I don't like leadership. I don't like the way the companies are being run. Now I'm the one running the company, looking after the people, making sure the work is done and delivered as promised. So that was kind of where I ended up being a solopreneur, I think.
And for those who are listening, I talk about this all the time. Maths is maths. How many hours, how many people can you serve? How much money do you want to make? Just divide that. That's an easy way to figure out what you need to charge. I can serve 3 customers a month and I want to make 30 grand. I need to charge them 10 grand a month. So then it's like, well, how do I charge them 10 grand a month? Well, that's about value. Really what Sid's talking about there when he says it's the value. It's not, I've paid a freelancer 1,500, therefore it's valued at 1,500. The value comes from finding the right freelancer, selling the idea, making sure it's delivered properly, doing all that work. We have to learn how to persuade and market and sell and discuss and organize, and you know what I mean. And so I think what's super clear to me when you talked about all this was niching. You know, videos in London is a niche, creating videos for a particular group of people in London. Selling the promise that the video you want will be given. That's the outcome. And keeping your overheads as low as possible and your risk as low as possible. That's the formula, really.
Yeah. That was like the biggest transformation from being a creative freelancer to being a business owner.
How did you and why did you seek out a coach, business coach?
Are we allowed to swear?
Yes.
Because I didn't know shit about fuck. Like, honestly.
Okay, but talk me through that. So one day you realized that not knowing, because it's not like you realized you didn't know one day, you realized that over time, right?
Yeah.
One day you realized that not knowing what you didn't know wasn't going to work in some way.
There was a point where I am the biggest limiting factor in my business being able to grow. I'm the bottleneck. Right. And there's that realization. So, and then I knew coaches existed. The one-to-one video production stuff I'd done had been for coaches. And I'm like, I really don't like a lot of these guys. And then I was doing my networking thing and I met my coach, Stephen Chandler, at an event, and we just got talking. He'd just sort of transitioned from being the ad man to being the coach. So I was getting him for pretty cheap at that time. And just his approach, it wasn't just coaching. I think like what is being sold as coaching right now on Instagram, on LinkedIn is a mess. I've been a coach myself. I don't like to call myself a coach. But he took this blended approach of coaching and mentoring. Like, Sid, what do you want out of your life? And how is that business? And then how do we build the business that's going to serve that life while still being able to do all that stuff? So it was just, he was the first guy I was confident enough to take a punt on. And I think this is one of the things, like, sometimes when we work for ourselves, we don't know. We know what we want, but we don't know what we need. And the only way to find out is putting some money down and figuring it out and losing some money and then making it back later down the line. So like I said, I put money into Stephen to get some ROI and it worked. I've put money into other things and other programs and got zero ROI.
Yeah, right.
So that's just the reality of the situation. But
just to come back though, like, you were skeptical about coaches. You didn't like them. So was this like I like this guy, it's a good deal because he's just starting out. Maybe he can help me. He obviously must have said the right things at the right, because it's often, I always say it's not just hearing the right thing, it's hearing the right thing at the right time from the right person.
Yeah. So
is it like just a perfect storm of all that happening that made you go, right, let's go for it?
Yeah.
So it wasn't as intentional as, right, I need a coach, right, I'm going to go look for one.
No, not at all. It just kind of happened to happen. And then, so when I did get on the call with him, I did 90% of the talking. He did 10% of the talking. And I was like, shit, I need to be able to close sales like this guy closes sales.
Perfect.
That was it.
Perfect.
That was so.
By the way, that's coaching, really, in some sense. I mean, I often say, again, it depends on, because coaching has replaced consulting. When I was growing up, it was management consultants and business consultants, and they had a bad rep. These guys now that call themselves business coaches or sales coaches would have been sales consultants, business consultants 20 years ago. But coaching, the skill, is this ability to ask questions and have the person realize their limitations and their bottlenecks and their constraints.
Exactly.
So that they then decide what they're going to do with it.
Yeah. And he was able to back it up and say, here's the very real experience that I've had in my personal ventures, my ad agencies.
Yes.
And here's what I recommend you. Here's what I recommend you do.
I've lived that.
He's lived it. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's so super important.
Yeah.
Because coaching in and of itself I don't need to have experience. I can just ask you questions and you can, that's the Socrates idea that I know nothing. I'm just going to ask you a bunch of questions so you can figure out what you need to figure out. Yeah. But actually, and that's why I call it, when I do it, mentoring. because I'm like, this is my part. I'm not going to teach you something that I've never done or show you how to do something I've never done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to show you what I'm doing, and you can learn whatever you want on the way.
Yeah.
And some of those conversations are coaching conversations. Why is this important for you? And why do you think you want to do this? And
yeah.
How would you do it if you had to decide? Right? It's these kinds of questions. What are you good at?
Yeah.
What do you know you're not good at? Yeah, I love that. I love that. So Socratic dialogue really is what it is. Backed by social proof.
Yeah.
You know, I say to people all the time, Sid, if you're good at something, where's the proof? If you don't have the proof, go get it. Because if you're good at it, you can get the proof.
Mm-hmm.
If you're no good at it, you can't get the proof, which means you now know what you need to learn.
Yeah.
It's so simple.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think like this is the thing about being a solopreneur, being entrepreneurial. We're constantly having to learn new stuff, but we also need to make sure we find the focus on hanging on to the thing that we're selling, and and just keep like selling the thing with focus, but also learning without disrupting the thing that we're selling with focus.
Yeah, very cool. And I mean, learning is a never-ending story as far as I can tell anyway. So obstacles, I'm assuming that the challenges were your typical challenges. When you said I didn't know shit from fuck, you're basically, it's to do with the business side of things rather than obviously the creative side of things, or the video side of things, if you want, or whatever you want to call it, the technical side. Is that a fair?
Yeah, it's definitely so. Like I know how to use a camera. I know how to get a video edited. I know how to form a story, put a narrative together on a timeline. Not a problem at all. But what I didn't know is the business of doing that. That's what I didn't know, and that's why I really needed Stephen to teach me.
Love it.
And actually, like the building the business was the thing I like fell in love with the most, because building the business kind of like that's the thing that became my creative outlet. Right? It went from picking up the camera to taking pictures to ideating and solving problems. That was a majority of my advertising career. I was solving problems, getting all the ducks, making sure all the right notes were being played in the right order. And I think that's what we're trying to do when we're building our businesses.
Very cool. What do you remember the turning point where you said, okay, I've got this now. I know what to do. I might not know everything, obviously, and I might not know how it's going to pan out, but I now know that I've got what I need to make this work. Do you remember that point?
Yeah, I think it's coming up in about 18 months to 25 years from now. Because that's the reality of it. And, you know, it's a lot of this is just, well, it's just working through a swarm sometimes, you know. How do I make an ordered list out of a swarm? That's so much of this solopreneurship. And the reason I say that is we started this conversation with an introduction to me. I design businesses for founders. Well, how the hell did you end up there from making videos for people?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, have I figured it all out? I've got a pretty decent foundation right now that I'm very confident to move forward with, which is I design businesses for founders. I've got some proof behind it. Mm-hmm. Now, getting the proof, boy, was that fun and equally painful. So I'll jump into that story if that's all right.
Yeah, sure.
What happened? So what happened with the video marketing agency? How did I end up designing businesses for people? By all means, my video marketing agency was successful. I managed my time however I wanted. I got to do 6 months of paternity leave when my daughter was born. And people were knocking on the door saying, Sid, we saw the thing. Can you do the thing for us, please? All looking fabulous, sounding great. 2019, my wife says, I want to move back to my hometown in Canada. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Not a problem at all. And this is before remote work is trendy and cool. But
2019 this was, right?
yeah, it's mid 2019. Now, I had been doing I'd been managing teams globally, remotely for 5 years. I was in the UK. I had teams in Serbia, Philippines, India, and then the US as well, like trying to coordinate campaigns through them. I'm like, this is a piece of cake to do it from the UK and Canada. That's it. That's a piece of cake. Idea would be I'd be able to live here, fly back to London, have a business in London, do that every couple of months, keep clients happy, keep growing things there. And then, 2020 happened. So everyone in February that was knocking on my door, February 2020 that was knocking on my door for, hey, can we schedule this in, just disappeared. So I'm getting ghosted left, right, and center. The only way of really understanding what's going on is through the news. What choices is Boris making this week, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? On the lockdown and the isolation and moving
choices. Yeah.
So it was kind of like, okay, I can't do any more with this. I've got very little overhead. I've got no network in Canada. And I'm also on a tourist visa, so I can't work. So what ends up happening is people start reaching out to me because I've built up a network of other freelancers, consultants, micro agencies. They're kind of like, well, what are you doing to survive through this? Well, I'm in Canada, mate. I've just resolved this. I've just, wrapped things up and made sure everyone's okay, but I can't get out to do any work. None of my freelancers can get out to do work, so we're wrapping it up. But in those conversations, I was like, okay, well, why don't we just... I'd learned enough from building my business and mentorship from Stephen. And I don't know if this is cheating, but just like going into those conversations, emulating Stephen a little bit, just going in with his confidence and his know-how and saying, well, from what I've heard, you might be able to do it this way. So they're asking me for help. I can't, if someone asks for help, I'm someone who can't say no. So those kind of conversations led to longer engagements, led to case studies. Proof, exactly.
You knew what you were doing.
Exactly, yeah. And then sort of again, then it's like, okay, is it this or is it this? It's like living, your life is lived through an eye test. Am I a coach or am I a strategist? Okay, am I a consultant or am I a coach? Am I a business strategist, or wait, am I a brand strategist or just a general strategist? And this kind of happens when you go too deep into reading too much and seeking validation online. I spent a little bit of time saying I'm a brand strategist, and then I had an argument with another brand strategist in a Facebook group who said, no, brand strategy is absolutely this. I'm like, well, I guess I'm not a brand strategist then, because I do it a lot more than that. Because that is just such a, you want to do like a little pigeonhole like this, and you want to truncate it all, and you work your way down and you hand it over to the client, and that's it. You're done. That's how you want to be a brand strategist, fine. But that's not what I do. So yes, it's
figuring out your place.
Exactly. And at the figuring out my place, but figuring out still in learning all the core stuff about how to build a business. Do you know what I mean? Learning about all the fundamentals of the different business models, the positioning side of things, the niching side of things, and just distilling it down to like something really valuable to a small group of people.
Very cool. So COVID used that opportunity to help people who are reaching out to you, figured out that you could actually get some outcomes for them, and then starting to position yourself in a new way, let's say, reimagining Sid.
Yeah.
Now you're where you are. What's next level for you? What are you aiming at next?
So tricky one, right? Next level for me is turning my process that I can kind of do on the fly through conversations, distill it, turn it into reports, turn it into consulting, turn it into action plans, turning that into standard operating processes that I can give to other people to do, and say, look, I'm the company, I've sold it, it's your job to deliver it, and I'll give you a percentage of the percentage of that campaign to do it. Here's the standard you're expected to do it at.
Like similar to what you were doing in your boutique agency, giving it to freelance work to do, similar to that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you bring in contractors, freelancers, people like that to deliver what you're delivering.
Yeah. Yeah.
With your IP.
With my IP, exactly. Like taking what's in the head, turning it into a process doc, and then that process doc becomes the IP. Now the IP is the thing that you can sell. Now what I'm trying to figure out is who is the best person to sell that IP to, for how much, and in what way.
You're talking about the contractor now, not the client.
I'm talking about the IP.
Yeah, so but you're selling the IP to the contractor or to the client?
Exactly.
So you got a franchise idea where you can just sell it off like Brad Sugars with Action Coach. Here's my model.
So yeah, so maybe like, is it, so I can give it to the contractor, I can bring in the client.
You can delegate it and charge for it yourself.
Yeah, they want to work with me.
Yeah.
I don't have to have a head count. I don't have to have a full-time employee. What I can do is just do a revenue share model and say, look, I'll give you 20 to 40%, whatever it is, depending on their skill level. I can give you 20% of
why not the same as the boutique agency? Why not I'll pay you $1,500 and you go charge $5,000?
Long-term quality of service. So let's say you want to be able to like ladder it up a bit. I want to build trust with the people who are going to be the ones that grow my business. And I think the fundamentals of it is getting away from that point in my corporate career where I felt like a line item on a spreadsheet, waiting to, and we were all sort of like twiddling our thumbs at the end of the quarter, who's going to stay, who's going to go. I want, it's not my responsibility, but I want to build a business where people don't feel that I can bring them into something. They can work, that they can ladder their way up, they can develop a skill, and we can all make money. And I want them to be able to keep coming back, and I want my clients to be able to keep coming back. I don't know. Is that too? You're way more seasoned than I am. Am I being?
I don't know. The questions that come to my mind is building trust with someone means that they have to feel like they've got everything they need and they don't need to go anywhere else. And then so the question then becomes, why build that idea when you can just pay competent people to deliver, and if they're not available then you find other competent people? But of course that means you need to work with more people, so I understand that.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's what's the downside? And then the other thing I think about is what stops them from just taking your IP and going, and then that means you have to get involved in trademark and contracts and legal and this and that. Exactly. And then it's like, so you're giving someone who you say you want to trust a contract that says they can't do this for 2 years and they can't do that, and it's like
exactly. So yeah, again, that's all, like I say, working through the storm, that's all the stuff I have to try and figure out. So that's one model of one way of going. Is it that I take the IP and sell it directly to the founders that I work with and say, here's my framework, here's how I do what I do, here's the framework.
And here's 3 ways I can help you. So you can either call me ad hoc, or you can pay me a retainer, or you can pay me to come and run it for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
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 Yeah, that makes more sense to me. Here's the thing. Here's the question that's nagging at me. Why? Whatever path you pick, whether you go franchise or you go contractor or you go close circle, trusted circle of delivery partners, or you go, why is this the thing that you're thinking you need to do? Why this?
Because it's that it's me being in my element. It's me being on building a business and growing it. Not see so now the work is me being a facilitator and a consultant.
Yes, it's not being a business owner.
I want to move that to someone else, and I want to be the business owner.
Got it.
Because when you pass that on to someone else,
yeah,
the business keeps growing.
Yes,
you now have like an asset that keeps making money that you can leverage against.
Of course.
And I'm still very naive in this kind of stuff. And then I can go and do the next thing. There's a reading center that I've considered.
So you have other ideas and you're trying to figure out how to use what you've got to then leverage that.
Yeah.
Absolutely normal, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely normal. It's an old story, this one, Sid. It's like, it's like, I'm going to use what I've got now to then leverage to create the opportunity that I actually want.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that opportunity? What's the reading center?
Not fully fleshed out. Potentially a social enterprise, potentially a physical location. So the reading center that it's now, this is the other thing. Okay. I spoke to a lady once and I said to her, so you're going into this 9-to-5 corporate job where you've been self-employed, pursuing something with your passion. How is that going to feel? And she said, it's going to be great because paying the bills and, keeping a roof over my head and keeping my family fed is going to be covered by working 9-to-5. My passion project, my social enterprise isn't the thing I'm relying on to keep the roof over my head.
Got it.
Right. So this was a really
the same idea. It's like I'll leverage my business to then feed my.
Exactly. The business is going to feed my family. I'm going to take some money out of that to produce something with more purpose.
Very clear.
Yeah.
I think that's a good. That's the Robin Hood model, I call it.
Oh, okay.
You take money from the people that can pay you to then take care of the people that can't. It's that kind of idea.
Yeah.
I have one more question, and then we wrap up. And this, I don't know if you can answer this now, but it's something to think about. What would stop you from leveraging your skills to build another business rather than turning this into a business? And I'll tell you why I asked that question. Because often we do get the blinkers. We're like, this is what I'm doing now. So I've got to turn this into a business. But actually, you know how to run a business. You know how to grow a business. Why does it have to be this that's the business? Why can't we use this to grow another business? And I know that might put us something in between you and your reading center, something else to think about in between. But that's because where I struggled when I was an entrepreneur, when I was a business owner, was instead of, the woods from the trees, instead of zooming out and saying, actually, let me just bin this off and focus on this. It was like, no, but I'm dealing with this now, so I've got to make this work. Yeah. So that's the only question I want you to reflect on. And again, I don't know if you can now. It probably needs a bit of thought. But the danger for me in this situation is maybe I got to let go of this whole idea and start with a blank slate.
Yeah. It's because I've binned off so many ideas before, and I've never been this sure of an idea that it will serve, that it will make money, and it's something I am very, very proud of.
Got it.
And I honestly, it's just about my wife will throw me to the curb if I bin off another idea.
I like the honesty. And also, so to round that up, it's not the idea that's in question. It's the how are we going to leverage the idea to make money. That's actually the only question you've got. I like it. I think that's it's solid. It's solid. I don't have anything to say actually about what you said. I think it's
a great question though.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So we started by talking about, I mean, you started straight off the bat by saying, I found a business coach that helped me. I think that's a great way to start. I think I was too stubborn to ask for help. In many ways, the program I created is because I wish I had that program when I was starting out. So I tried to, it's a common thing, right? You create
it's the same with the I design businesses for founders. It's exactly what I needed when I left. Yeah.
Because you're in the best place to know that. You got the empathy from both sides now, which I think is great. You talked about narrowing down, getting out the details, super lessons for anyone listening. No one cares about how you cook the steak. Just bring me the steak.
Yeah.
Don't care how you cooked it, right? I don't mean medium rare. I just mean what the process was. Simple maths we talked about, which is always, so many people forget that. It's like, it's just maths. How much time, how much money, how many people can I look after? How do I work that out? You talked about purpose. I would have loved to have a conversation with you, but I thought we'd go down a rabbit hole about purpose, right? Because you talked about what in purpose, whereas I think of more of it of how we fulfill our role, right? So you talk about your role as a parent and your role as a business owner, but I'd like to think of purpose as how do we fulfill that role? Because just because you're a dad, it doesn't mean you're the same as everybody else who's a dad. The how, right? That's more interesting. And I would have loved to have, maybe next one we can talk about that. And then you talked about the boutique marketing agency and how you brought your cost to almost zero, just your laptop and some basic costs because you were paying people to deliver to clients, and how you were leveraging their talent to make a profit, and how you even questioned whether that was ethical or something like that. We talked about selling the promise. I'll give you the video that you want rather than talking about the process. So we emphasized that. And then we talked about building the business became my creative outlet, you said, which when that insight came, it became about business. And then of course with moving to Canada and lockdown happening and people coming and asking for your help and your willingness to help them, you started to realize actually that you picked up either by osmosis or by paying serious attention things that could help businesses. So you turned that into a business. You used lessons from your mentor, the first business coach, and you started to find your place in the market. And now you want to productize that in a way where you can step out of the weeds and you can use what you've built to now grow a proper business, which is then going to fund a passion project that you have that you're still in the process of figuring out. And I think that's a wonderful story. Is there anything that you want to say to wrap up that summary, or anything that I missed that you think I should have said? Please do so now.
Not that I can think of. No.
Was it a good summary?
It's a pretty decent summary there. I think a purpose, talking about purpose, and for me, making my business my purpose was a huge mistake for a really long time. And that I think we could spend a couple of hours talking about.
100%. So deep conversation.
Very deep conversation.
Yeah. Like identity, right? Your identity becomes tied into something that doesn't really matter at the end of it.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's that conversation I had with that lady that I mentioned. Rewind this, go and listen to exactly what I said there. It was absolutely crucial in helping me get over it and get where I am.
I love it.
I swear by it to anyone who's
this is wisdom that if we come across this wisdom, I think it's our duty to share it. Honestly, it's our duty to share it. Not it might be good, it might be useful to share it. No, we have to share it and say to people, this is what I discovered, and maybe you need to think about that. I love it. Where can people find you? What's the best place?
So best place for me is I am on LinkedIn, Instagram, and my website, and everything is sidsaraiya.com, SIDSARAIYA.com.
Amazing. And we'll put all those details in the session notes. And is there anything else that you want to say before we close off?
No, that's it. Thanks for having me. And hopefully we can do more of this on some other topics.
Yeah, maybe, for sure. I appreciate you and your time. Thank you for joining.
Thanks so much.
The difference between surviving and thriving often comes down to a single shift in perspective. Maybe today's conversation sparked something for you, or maybe it confirmed what you already knew. I'm going to keep exploring what it takes to reach the next level. For more solopreneur stories, hit subscribe. And if you know someone who'd be perfect for the team of one, please introduce us on LinkedIn. See you next time. Peace.